ang mga old people na obsolete na hindi yan nila. They are now in the new generation, in the e-world, we do things quickly. Internet man. E-world. So, ang mga old na wala na nag-Facebook, so, mabiling sila talaga. But, you cannot say that their ideas and minds are really not applicable to you, that you won't listen to them. Even though you don't use their idea, it's good to hear their side and say everything that is also contributing to your knowledge as a leader. So, meaning a good leader must have a teachable spirit, willing to be taught. Number 10, he abuses his staff to accomplish his agenda, his plan, rather than leading them to accomplish God's plan. That is a bad sign. He needs a change. Okay? Isa. Now, as a whole, we have a plan. The big goal of DMI. What is our big goal sa DMI? What is our goal in DMI? Education or school is not actually our goal. It is just a processes. Our goal is salvation of the soul and the dead. But along the way, we have the school. So that is the big goal is the saving knowledge that should be given to the dead, that they will save. Along the way, a holistic plan. It's not only the saving of the soul, they will also given education and development, growth, and become an independent person. But the core of our goal is salvation for the dead. So, if the leader abuses the staff just to accomplish his agenda rather than leading them, what did you notice that? What's wrong here? I see here that the leader has other plan than accomplishing God's plan. Because God has a plan, the leader has a different plan that will happen here. But it will not be, this thing will not happen if the leader is in agreement. The plan of the leader is the same as the plan of God. If the leader adopts the plan of God, if the leader wants to do the will of God, then that's not a problem. But if the leader has other agenda, is the leader facing temptation when you become a leader? If you lead a group, do you have that sort of temptation? Yes, the temptation to be famous, to be wanting to leave a mark that I am a good leader. So you are in the tempted to that. So if you are obstructed to your goal rather than following God's plan in your life or God's plan for DMI, you have your own. You want to be famous. So that's another agenda. Now, if you abuse your staff so that they will follow your agenda rather than accomplishing God's purposes and plan for us as a whole. Now, I like your insecurity. If the leader is insecure, why? You will be not secure if the followers will not follow your wish and plans for them. And there is also self-interest. Actually, the primary problem here is when the leader has his own self-interest rather than the interest of God. We call that the kingdom interest is discarded, is neglected, and given preference the self-personal interest. For example, in a kingdom, the prince is not sitting on the throne, right? The king is the one sitting on the throne. What is then the work of the prince? You know? Prince. What's the work of the prince? When there is the king is old and about to leave the throne. The prince is what? What is his work? OJT, training siya. Diba? He is on OJT training. The moment the king leaves the throne, the prince must be ready. He must have learned these things. Nag-OJT siya. He is acting like a king. Actually, in practice. But the decision is still on the king. So, the prince is not a good prince if he is not ready, he is not ready to take the place of the king when the king is vacant. If the prince is focusing on self-interest rather than the kingdom interest. You know that? What is self-interest? Dalawa na siya, no? Self-interest and kingdom interest. That's the meaning of that. And self-interest is the king has been thinking for himself. I will marry. I will have children. I wish about my plans and goals. But if it goes in conflict with the kingdom interest, which will you give preference? Which will you consider first? Which is the priority? Self-interest or kingdom interest? Which? If you give preference to, in other words, the prince must give priority to kingdom interest. Then he is a mature prince ready to take the place of king. But when he gives priority to self-interest, I want to live first, my plan, about myself. So, in other words, the kingdom will suffer because it will go in conflict with your self-interest. So this is this in parallel idea to this. And there's the leader is planning his own agenda, and God has a different agenda. So if the leader will influence, you follow me, I will abuse you if you will not follow me. The follower, sabi ni Paul, follow me as I follow Christ. So ng leader, okay na siya. Nag-jive. But if the leader is not following the Lord, then you will have problem like this. God's interest. Right? Number 11. Number 11. Another sign that a leader is needing a change, not to be changed, but there must be changes in him, is that he fears asking for commitment, your promise, commitment from people because of how he thinks they perceive him. All leader mag-ask, I want your commitment, your decision. If the leader is afraid to ask commitment from the people, because maybe he has thought, how do you perceive me? If I have been so strict and giving you lots of problems, then if I ask you to make a commitment, a decision, then I'm afraid many of you will not commit or will decide the other way. So, if he is afraid because he is thinking of his sins, of his attitude, toward the followers. So, I wrote here the result of no transparency, meaning it's not clear. If you are leading, you are not transparent. You are not transparent. Ano yung isang transparent? Transparent meaning you are showing everything. You are not hiding. And if the leader is afraid of reality, then he won't commit. He won't ask them for a commitment. It's number 11. Number 12. Number 12. He becomes very obsessed. Extremely obsessed. Too much focus. Wala, no other thing he's working, he's focused on that. Too much obsessed with way things are rather than how they should be. Alright, you get the idea? If the leader is to focus with the things that is happening rather than how they should be. What's the difference? What is the difference? Kung ano siya ng idealistic, no? Tapos ito, realistic. Things that had happened must be solved, but he is so obsessed, so focused on the things, with the things the way they are, with the things that he should, the things that should happen, and the things that is happening. For example, in your classroom, you are focused on the subject that you want to give to the student. Pukpok ang pukpok sa lesson, hindi ko magpasok. You are just focused on that. Kasi partner, you are focused on the time. It's getting nearer to the end, to the graduation. I must finish my subject. Bigay ko sa inyo. I am focused on that. You are not focused on how the student are getting the lesson or how they are at present situation. So it is in vain, it is useless if you just focus on your plans and goals of giving the lesson to the student. Anyway, the result is nothing. Just to say, the way then how they should be is the real thing. This one is the plan and your goal, your goal. So this reflects to inexperience and unknowledgeable. If you don't know much about your position and your experience, your that experience, then it will lead you to wrong decision. Number 13. He views himself as the expert. No, another sign that a leader needs to change when he think himself, I am the expert here. I am the chief cook. Pag wala ako, ano na siya. May pastor sa una na pinalis ka. So nagbulos, nagpalit ang bago. Kanin. So, the leader must view himself. Maybe you know some things or lots of things, but there is more room for improvement. Or better, others can do that. Now, another thing. You are a good leader if you're able to pass on what you know to your follower. But as a leader, with what you know, you degrade about it. Ano sa iyo? Kasi kung ibigay, ang sabi nila sa, learn ko about sa Kung Fu Master, if he trains his students about Kung Fu, he will not give it all. May secret siya na natagpusin. Baka lalaman, baka magtaas ang para mag-satan siya, mag-reveal sa master. Paano master? May gatigulang ng master. Ang estudyante niya, strong pa. So pag ibinigay niya lahat, mag-reveal din. The student rebel, paano master? So it is said that there is a secret that the Kung Fu master hides in himself. But that should not be true to sa military or sa art leadership. But when it comes to leading a group, that should not happen. For example, we taught you sign language. Later on, you will reveal to us. Pag you reveal din ito, lalabas ko. I will start my own DMI. I will call it DMA. I will call it DMA. I will challenge DMI. Ayaw na, ibulang naman natin sila. Many times I have thought about that because when we were in 64, there were groups, they just pretend, they join us, but they are in another religion, and you want to listen to school. So, I may be teaching people who later on, for the moment, nag-pretend lang. Later on, they actually purposely came so that they will learn and we will have a tribal group to compete with our work. Paul has said that also. In pretense or in the truth, they may preach the gospel. It's okay, as long as Christ is magnified, as long as we continue on doing the work or searching the depth. So, do not view yourself as expert. Rather, a good leader is always a student. Do not think that when you graduate, now I am a teacher, no more assignment, no more time to study. No. Ang mga teachers, they have a professional book. Ang doctors, may professional book kasi every month dumadating, so they review sila. They will cope up with that trend, with the e-world. Kung hindi sila mag-cope up na, bilhin sila. Those who are graduates now has learned about its ID. Ang tigulang na doktor sa 1970, wala pa. Paano sila pag wala sila sa journal na professional journal to let them cope up and continue on seminars, training, studies. If you have opportunity, do not say, I'm already good. No, wrong. Do not think of yourself as expert. Expert, you have to go to school. It is a wrong sign, very wrong sign of a leader. My experience for 20 years, 30 years, who can defeat me? So be on training and be on guard. In any profession, dapat may journal ka that should, kahit ang mga engineers sa una. Actually, ang engineering sa Egypt, until now, they cannot discover how the Egyptian engineers build the pyramid. It is a secret nga. Ano nila ma-strike ang may bukas na ilagay nila ang payro sa pyramid, napatay. Hindi ko lagyan pahiga ang ilang dead. The dead stands. May butas dito sa pyramid, ang mukha niya, pag nang tamaan. Until now, it cannot be solved. May mga old ways. May mga new ways na ma-defeat ang mga old ways. Number 14. Ito, self-conceit. What is self-conceit? Self-conceit. Self-conceit. Don't mind others, I mind my own.
Self-conceit.
I think others.
Myself.
Me. 14. He tries to motivate with fear rather than vision. Yo? Naifin kayo? Bawasan mo sahod nyo. if the leader does that, ayun, it's time, tanggalin ko kayo. So, rather, the leader motivates with giving a vision, encouraging them. This is what we do. The word is C-A-T-A-L-Y, catalyst, meaning the leader is able to inspire. Pag magsalita ang leader, the group are inspired. There is a fire in their heart to follow, rather than leading the group in fear. So, magpuro din. Muna nga pagpupo nyo na testimony. Ay katulog. So, pray kayo, pray. Kung daw po yan ang kapuro, hindi kayo makaisip. So, we should lead with vision. Si Nehemiah in the Bible, he had a big work of fencing Israel or Jerusalem. That's a big work, and so the leader must give a vision or encouragement to the people to join the work. Number 15, the last. He doesn't seek fresh inspiration from God and often goes back to what has been done, instead seeking direction for what has never been done. Now, this one, for example, what achievement we have in the past. But it was nights with nights. So we dwell on that. Oh, we forward. That was the past. The graduation. They might not submit it was a victory, but let's not stay there. Let us not focus in that past achievement, rather move forward. Why will the leader not move forward? Because he's afraid. I might fail. So, a good leader is not afraid to fail. Do you believe that? In fact, if we fail, we learn. But many leaders are afraid to fail because they're afraid of failure. They get failure. Si President Lincoln, nagbagal sa ating presidente. No, 3 times ata na fail. He was defeated 3 times. Still sa 4 times, continue on. Kung ang leader na naisip na, I'm afraid to fail, give up. Good leader is not afraid to fail. So, if you are not afraid to fail, you should move on. You should not dwell on that which is secured, yung past achievement and past victories. You want to dwell on those beautiful accomplishments that you have. Number 16 and the last. The leader stops taking the risk, the danger of becoming obsessed with playing it safe. Understand? So, he's not moving forward. He might fail. So he's not taking the risk. He's not taking with courage to face the future. Ahead, maybe going up, hilly, that you can, rather than like to play safe, So we are talking about this because everyone is a leader in his own right. We are the leader in the kitchen. We could be the leader in the small group, blue team, for example, or blue team. So you could apply this even in your classroom. These groups. And if you will not think about these things, if you will not personally dwell on them and meditate on these things, you cannot have a good testimony. Marami na mga binigay sa kaina ng Luzon. Wala na. So, it will not be of a help to us. That's why it was given here. Question? What question? Di ba lang may question? Si Jake. Wala na, Mr. Safe.
Safe vaping.
Safe.
Vaping is not safe. Vaping kasabot ko.
Ang moving safe, playing safe, meaning the leader, if he moves forward and plans something that is unknown, maybe I'll fail. So better, I'll do that which I knew we can be victorious. So that's playing safe. You have to decide, there or here. I'm sure of, if I do this one, I'm safe. I'm sure of victory. But that one is a big goal. Wait on this. Go to other places. Oh, Sapol. Luga.
Planning to Dubai.
Luga. Simian. Anak. Atangil. Si accepted finish. Dito na ko safe ako dito. That's the meaning. If you decide on me, may danger ka tayo, sumagon ka.
Yan, so.
So ito, sure na to, sure. Safe na. Ganyan ko safe na. Mga na sa playing safe.
Understand.
Sabot ka.
Understand.
Sabot ka.
Dana, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time of fellowship and this opportunity of being reminded of the things that should develop us and things that should carve our way, plans that should enable us to do that which is right according to your word. You know, pray the Lord that you would enable us to apply these things in our life. This is given that we might develop in a way where we could be leaders in our own right, leading a small group, leading the class, leading team, and even in family. We are now pray and commit these things that would enable us to meditate and grow further and realize these things in our life as guidelines in living and in behaving and in taking actions, especially in decisions. All these things we trust and pray in Jesus' name.